Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of the Elevate Babe podcast. I'm Antonia, and I am super excited to be with you on the podcast today. And I am super excited about this topic I'm going to be talking about today. Today, I'm talking about Joe Dispenza. Now, you probably have heard of him more than likely, I know. But I've been following him for such a long time now, and I just find his work absolutely amazing. All his podcasts are so informative and juicy and enjoyable. His books are amazing. They're so insightful and informative. I've never been to one of his healings, let's say, or one of his workshops, but I think it's on the list for sure. So I decided to reread his book, Supernatural. You probably have come across it before. I read it before, but I think that, as humans, we change all the time. So when I read his book a while back, I probably wasn't really, let's say, ready for it, or maybe I was in a different mindset for it. And so I decided to reread it, and yeah, it hits me differently. I'm picking up on things that I kind of missed or glazed over before, let's say. And so I think it's always worth going back, particularly when it's a good book, and rereading something that is just really interesting. So I wanted to make some notes and bring you some notes on what I picked up from the book. Some amazing things. If you don't know Joe Dispenza, and just a little side note, I've kind of written it out here in front of me because I don't want to miss anything. I want to make sure that I have everything here that I want to relay to you, because it's so interesting and insightful, and you're going to get something from this. And I mean, I know that there's so many different podcasts and that on manifestation, and you may have heard some things before, but I think that, sometimes you might hear things multiple times before it will actually sink in. I know that I do. I might hear the same theory or the same technique or the same anything. Maybe it could be sometimes 3 times, 6 times, 12 times before suddenly it just hits my ear a different way, goes into my brain. I'm like, aha, I didn't look at it that way before. So sometimes it is actually worth going over information, even if it is familiar to you, just so that it will actually sink in. And then once it kind of does sink in and hits you in that part of the brain that it didn't hit before, you might then probably automatically start to apply it in your everyday life. And at the end of the day, that is the whole point of manifestation, is that we want to be able to have these things as a knowing, as just something that, is part of our DNA, rather than something that you're going to learn and apply. Because let's say, if you're in school, you're literally just learning like an academic. You're learning from the book and you're regurgitating that book, and it probably doesn't really even go into your brain or sink in. Sometimes you don't even know what you're talking about. You're literally just regurgitating the information because you're looking to just pass your exams. You're looking to pass your class. You're looking to get that diploma or that degree in college. So to me, it's not impressive if someone has a degree or multiple degrees, because all it tells me is that that person can read a book and repeat it. And that's as simple as that. It doesn't mean that you actually learn or retain the information to be able to naturally and automatically apply it in your life and have it in your DNA. And that's why I want to bring you this podcast, so that I can just give you the information, whether it's again or sometimes new information, so that it does sink in and it does become part of your DNA and you are able to apply it in everyday life. Because I'm the kind of person that loves to learn, and I find out new things all the time. I've got a thirst for knowledge. I'm always reading. I'm always listening to podcasts. I'm always watching YouTube. All of these things. I even have a library card, believe it or not. And so, basically for me, it's just something that I find so interesting and juicy, just finding out different information. And I don't want to be a gatekeeper. I don't want to be the kind of person that just like gets the information and keeps it for myself. I really believe that, people can do whatever they want to do. You can do whatever you want to do in life. I just know that for a fact. And I've always known that. And now it's kind of more of a thing. It's kind of more, out there in the ether. There's more podcasts and there's more media about like, you can live your life, babe. Do what you want to do you, all this kind of thing. I was way ahead of that. I was believing in that and doing that a long, long time ago. And I've wanted to share so many things a long time ago as well. But of course, as you know yourself, life gets in the way. But anyway, here I am. I've finally come around. And I think now is just as good a time as any, if ever. So I'm sharing with you the information that I've learned from Joe Dispenza's book after rereading it again. And I just absolutely just think he's amazing. He's probably one of the best out there, I think, to be honest. So in case you don't know who Joe Dispenza is, I'll give a little bit of a background. So he studied epigenetics and he's also a neuroscientist. So he basically himself had an accident a long time ago, and I think he fell off his bike, something along those lines. Don't quote me on that. I would definitely go and do some research on him because he's amazing. You're going to love him if you haven't heard of him before. And basically, it was a bad accident. He had broke his back. So he was in hospital for many months, as you can imagine. And of course, the doctors came over to him and they were saying that, like, look, unfortunately, it doesn't look good. You've broken the majority of your vertebrae in your spine. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to walk again. Now, as you can imagine, this is devastating news for anybody to hear. So, he took this news on board, and he was kind of trying to kind of see and seek out what kind of medical attention he could get, or sort of medical cure or therapy that could possibly heal his back. And he was kind of hitting a dead end on a regular basis pretty often. So being that he's a neuroscientist himself, and he has studied epigenetics, he decided that he was going to heal himself. Now, he was in hospital with a broken back, and I believe he was on one of those kind of cogs, like a hamster wheel, that brings you, around in your bed extremely slowly, just to kind of keep your circulation moving because he can't move. So basically, I think he was like on one of these on one of these slow motion hamster wheels, like lying down in bed in the hospital. And he decided mentally, he's like, I am going to heal myself. So he began the process of healing himself, vertebrae by vertebrae, literally going the whole way up his back every single day, just mentally talking to his vertebra, like each individual one, healing them and saying that they're going to function and they're going to walk and they're going to be just as good as they were, and all of this. Now, it's not verbatim. Do go and check him out yourself. But basically, he healed himself and the doctors were amazed. He was able to walk again, and here he is now. He's written so many different books. I mean, the book Supernatural that I've read recently is a New York Times bestseller, and he's just gone around the world doing workshops and talking to people like Lewis Howells, and so many different well-known podcasts that you see on YouTube, that you see on wherever you listen to your podcast, on Spotify or whatever, on Apple Podcasts, some of the biggest podcasts. And he gets invited back time and time and time again because people love what he has to say, because he's such a genuine guy. He kind of cuts through the shit and he just gives it to you as it is, and he gives you the facts along with it. So rather than, let's say, if you're not really a big believer in manifestation, he kind of cuts through the woo woo, let's say, for want of a better word. I wouldn't really call it woo woo. I mean, I call it magic, and I believe in magic. But if you're not really into that, then he gives you the science and the data, and he tells you exactly how it is, from tests that he has done as a neuroscientist, from studies that he has done as an epigeneticist. All of these things. So it would be so worth your while looking into him if you haven't before. So anyway, so that is pretty much who Joe Dispenza is. Now, as we're kind of diving into manifestation, as I said already, I just want to remind you that yes, you may have heard some of these things before, but it doesn't matter. The more you hear these things, the more they're going to just become part of you, and it's just going to become part of your life in order to elevate your life. So you may know, or you may not know, that everything, and I mean everything, starts in the brain, no matter what it is. It starts in the brain. You make a choice, you make a decision, and you go with that, whatever that might be. To brush your teeth, to walk the dog, to eat your food, to go to college, to whatever that might be. It starts in the brain. So, even getting out of bed in the morning, it starts with the alarm going off and going, okay, I gotta get up, I guess. So, everything. Try and think of something that doesn't start in the brain and let me know in the comments below. But I'm promising you, everything does start in the brain. The brain functions, so literally even when I lift my finger, before I know I'm going to lift my finger, my brain already kicks in and it's there ready for me to go to lift my finger. So my brain is doing that. It's not me doing that physically. It's my brain telling my finger she wants to move the index finger back and forth, you know? So everything starts in the brain. Every movement that you do, every thought, every action, your life, it all starts in the brain. So that's just at the very beginning. So holding intention is key as well. If you're looking to manifest, intention is key. Now, as I said, if you heard this before, you're going to hear it again. So because everything starts in the brain, and everything you do in every moment of life, you know, you, whether you realize it or not, you think about it quickly. So my intention is to pick up this mouse. So I just did that. So if you want to maybe go on a holiday and all expenses paid holiday, maybe you want a new car, anything that you want to manifest, job, whatever that might be, you got to have the intention. Now, obviously you can't, have the intention, I want a new car, and it happened just as quickly as I pick up this mouse. Obviously that takes a little bit more time, but it takes just about the same amount of energy, nearly, because I have to physically pick up this mouse. And if you want that new car, all you have to do is hold the thought in your mind intentionally. So literally holding the thought in your mind intentionally for a period of time on a daily basis brings that energy and that thought into reality. You know, it's not just by magic, it's actually by mentality going into physicality, which happens every single day. Nothing can happen that doesn't bring what's in your mind into your physical reality. So it's just a case of some things take longer. So let's say, for example, you want that car. If you just focus on that car on a daily basis, give yourself a minute, give yourself 5 minutes. The longer you give yourself, the better, but even 20 seconds will do. Whether it's going to bed last thing at night or getting up first thing in the morning or meditating during the day or on your coffee break, your smoke break, whatever that might be. If you can just give yourself at least 20 seconds every day and just have that car in your mind and just see yourself sitting into that car, see yourself with the keys of that car, see yourself buying that car, see it driving out of the showroom, see yourself playing the music and the radio and it just driving along in the Autobahn, full speed, whatever that might be. Just imagine that you have that car. And if you consistently do that, it will come into your physical reality. There is no choice for it to come into your physical reality. No choice at all. Unless you give up, of course, before it happens. So 20 seconds one day, 20 seconds another day, and then 20 seconds another day, and then that's it. That won't work. You have to hold the intention, and that is the absolute key. So another thing as well is your brain, going back to your brain again. Your brain is not just sitting in your skull, mushing around in there trying to, tell you when you're hungry, tell you when you need to go to safety. No, your brain is an antenna. The world is made of energy. The universe is made of energy. Earth is made of energy. Everything is made of energy. And you, as I say, maybe you've heard this, but even my table is made of energy. It's made of energy slowly condensed down to a very, 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 very low vibration. So the vibration is so low that it just solidifies and makes it seem hard, where in actual fact it's not. If you were to get a microscope onto anything solid, a brick, a table, a tree, you will see in that microscope millions and millions and millions of particles moving at extremely high speed to make what you see solid. And that's just energy that is doing that. So the ether is basically energy. Everything is energy. So your brain is like an antenna. So literally you're picking up things. People talk about getting downloads and things like that. Like, they've got like an idea. Like, I think is it Sarah Blakely, the the founder of Spanx, she's got $1 billion company. She said, okay, universe, give me $1 billion idea. And she got the idea for Spanx. And lo and behold, she's got $1 billion company. So literally, you just need to use your brain as the energy field and the powerful powerhouse that it is in the right way to change your life. So literally, if you are, okay, I say literally a lot, and I say like a lot too, so please forgive me. So what you need to do, I'm going to try and not say literally as much. Okay, literally not going to say literally. Okay. So if you're using your brain as an antenna, you're going to be able to receive downloads, receive information. You're going to receive answers to questions. You're going to be able to receive ideas. You're going to be able to receive creativity. So let's say you want to write a book and you're kind of stuck. You just have to, silence is absolutely key. I just find sometimes when I just switch off the TV or switch off my phone, put it down, whatever, and just sit in silence for a minute, I can actually feel my brain relax, and then if I'm kind of a little bit more tired and I kind of close my eyes into, sort of not to sleep, but like as a meditation, I feel my brain relaxing even more, and it's in those moments that your brain is relaxed and you're in silence that ideas and thoughts come to you. So just know that your brain is a powerful antenna, and if you were looking for that $1 billion idea, you just have to ask the universe and be open to receiving. So when people say in manifestation you need to be open to receiving, you're probably like, yeah, I'm bloody open. Like, how bloody more open can I be? That's what they're talking about. You need to be sitting, because if you're constantly rushing around, you're in traffic, you're getting road rage, you're ordering takeaway, you're sitting in front of the TV, you're listening to a podcast, you're watching YouTube, you're bringing the kids to bed, you're bringing the kids to the park, you're cooking dinner for the family, you're talking to your husband, you're talking to your friends, you're going for a walk, you're going for a jog, you're in the shower, you're doing this, you're doing that. A lot of people get their ideas in the shower because that's when their brain is relaxed. So when you're doing all of these things all the time, you are just constantly distracting yourself. It's all a distraction. Even if you're trying to be healthy and you're going to the gym, that's a distraction. If you are, I don't know, whatever it might be, cleaning the house, cooking dinner, it's all a distraction. The way you are open to receiving is when you are still and silent. I mean, turn off the bloody background noise, close the door, leave the dogs in the living room, put the kids to bed, tell your husband, go to the pub, whatever, and just sit in silence. And if you can just do that on a regular basis, you are going to be so much more open to receiving. It's going to change your life. Promising you that. So basically, you won't be able to change your life until you change as well. So hang on. Brain is an antenna I have. Everything is energy condensed down to a slow vibration. But you won't be able to change its frequency. You won't be able to change your life until you yourself change. And that's what I mean. By not being so distracted anymore and sitting in silence for seconds, minutes, hours during the day, that is change. You are changing. You are changing your frequency. You are then, as I say already, open to receiving. So until you change your personal reality, then you won't be able to change your personality. And that's what Joe Dispenza says. It's a very good and apt statement. Because you need to change your personal reality before you can change your personality. Because in order to get the thing that you want, that you don't have as the person you are, you need to change yourself in order to become the person that gets the thing or has the thing. Therefore, you need to be able to change your personality, but you can't change your personality until you change your personal reality. And it starts with just taking time for yourself, to yourself, and sitting in silence and just closing your eyes or even leaving them open, but just sitting there and allowing things to come in, allowing your brain to rest. That it comes like that, I promise you. So, manifestation is all about living in the future and in the future moment as well. So, basically, if you're going to be like, thinking things all the time, all day, every day about, okay, I need to bring my clothes to the laundry, I need to pack my bags to go on this holiday, I need to get the car cleaned out, I need to do this, I need to do that, you are just constantly living in that state. So, if you start thinking, oh, I can't wait now. I'm going to be driving that car out of the showroom. I'm going on an all expenses paid dream holiday. Changing your mind changes a lot of things. It literally changing your mind helps you to change your world, because you're going to be literally living in circles if you're thinking the same thing all day, every day. And most people do, whether it's to do with home, work, or whatever. They're thinking the same things over and over again, and they're living the exact same life over and over again. So, if you want to literally manifest your future life, you need to think in the future. So your subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and non-reality. So if you think of it this way, you have images of memories in your mind. And so if you add images to your future in your mind, it will think it's a memory. Therefore, if you continue to focus on the new future images, it will become a real memory, a real life memory. And this is also a huge part of manifestation, how manifestation works. So, right, as I just mentioned, if that didn't sink in, then let me help you. So every day, let's say we're gone on a holiday, we come back from holiday and we have all those memories of the holiday. So that's basically kind of thinking, that's in the past. And then in your future, you're thinking, I need to work, I need to get this amount of money, I need to buy this, I need to do that. And so you're living in both the past and in a negative future. So in order to change that, you need to be in the present. As I said already, it's about being the present and then taking that time for yourself in silence. But also as well, it's about changing the memories that you have for the future. Again, it's this, future recording. Just think about, the future as a memory. And if you put images into your mind, whatever that might be, again, I'm going to use the same example, buying a car, buying your dream car. So if you're going to be putting that image into your mind of you going out of the showroom, and if you treat that as a memory, not as oh, I wish, or wouldn't it be great, treat that as a memory, that it's already happened. That's what they mean by think of it as it's already happened. Think of it as a memory. So, oh my God, I remember last week I got that Porsche and drove it out of the showroom. I love that car now. Whatever. And just have these images in your mind and treat it like a memory. And that really helps it's essential to manifestation as well. So all of these tips that I'm giving you, or all of these things that I'm giving you today, are just pure magic. If you apply all of these things and do all of these things, you can do anything. You will literally be able to change your life, I promise you. So just literally put those things on the back burner as if it's a memory, and they will literally be a memory in time. So when your brain is running coherent, your body is also running coherently. So looking after your brain is imperative. So yes, looking after your brain is so important, because if you've got brain fog and you can't think clearly, and maybe you think that you've got ADHD and you're just like, you can't focus on this and you can't focus on that, like, and you can't get the image in your mind to stay there for long. Trust me, it's just all about practice. I mean, if you haven't done any meditation before and you would like to do meditation, or if you do meditation, amazing. But if you haven't and you kind of go, oh, well, I can't do meditation because my brain just like won't shut off. It's all about training. I mean, if you've learned to ride a bike, that you weren't able to do first off. You probably fell off and you're probably a bit wobbly on the bike beforehand. But then eventually you're like, oh, this is a piece of piss. I can totally ride this bike, no problem. Same thing. You gotta like literally just practice. So when you're there, just closing your eyes. You don't have to be even like in a lotus position. You can literally just be lying on your bed or sitting in a chair. It doesn't matter. Close your eyes and just kind of keep them closed for a good 10 minutes. If you can do longer, even better. And just all the thoughts that come to your mind, allow them to come. That's no problem. If they're coming, let them come. There's no issue. But what you need to do is you need to keep bringing yourself back to the present. So focus on something like a lot of people use breath to focus on. So you could focus on your breath. So breathing in and breathing out, So that can kind of ground you and that can center you and that can make you present. So you're thinking about like the past, all your memories from your lovely holiday you just came back from. You're thinking about the future, all the laundry you need to do. Bring yourself back to the present. My breath, and focus on that. And if you just keep doing that every time you meditate, eventually your body will click into place. And eventually it will just happen. It will just be natural that you'll be present. And then, as I mentioned, when you're present and you're silent and you're open to receiving, you will absolutely be receiving. You will be in the present state and you will be in the receiving state, which is what you need. And then you'll be able to focus your mind more clearly on the things that you're looking to bring in. And that is super, super important. So things actually to kind of help with your mind as well. So believe it or not, walnuts. So this isn't part of his book. This is kind of something that I just like added in as well to my notes, because it's true. Because like if your brain is unhealthy, then it's going to be difficult for you to be able to use it to its full capacity and to sit in silence. So looking after your brain is really important. Drinking loads of water. Yes, I know, blah, 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 preaching to the choir. I get it. But like not just water, but good water. Tap water is full of crap. Bottled water is full of microplastics. So get a good filter. It's so worth investing in a good filter. Personally, I have a reverse osmosis, which means it strips all of the water it strips all of the stuff out of the water. I mean, it takes out the fluoride, it takes out the chlorine, it takes out any of the junk and gunk that gets collected in water when it's going through the pipes and going through the systems, all the chemicals. But then you're left with just basic water and there's nothing in that. There's no nutrients in it. So then I got remineralization. So it's a reverse osmosis with a remineralization filter, which puts then all the good nutrients and things that you need from water back into the water. So you're just drinking good water. And then I go the extra step. I store it then in a copper vessel for a little bit, and then I use a ionizer after that, which basically, because water is dead, it ionizes the water and kind of gives it a bit of life. Anyway, look, listen, I'm not saying to do that, but I would definitely suggest getting a reverse osmosis filter, particularly with remineralization. Anyway, it's an investment. It's not a way of spending money. It's a way of investing money, because you're investing in your longevity, you're investing in your health, and you're investing in your wealth, and you're investing in your life. So there we go. So that is one way to kind of really keep your brain lubricated, because like there is actually, a substance around your brain to help protect it that basically is made out of water. Your brain is basically 70% water, I think more, even 90% water. So if you were to like, when you get a headache, that's your brain dehydrated, so whether it's after alcohol or whatever. It could also be from pressure, but I mean, a lot of times when people get headaches, it's dehydration. I'll be drinking too much coffee, But like water is absolutely key, and healthy water is essential. So eating walnuts as well. If you look at any kind of food images, you'll see that a walnut looks like the brain, and other things like carrot looks like the eye, other things like other things, whatever. Anyway, I'm talking about walnuts at the moment. Walnuts are really, really good for your brain. So drinking water, eating walnuts are all good, and try your best to stay away from processed foods. Now, I'm pretty good with that. I have to say that I am very, 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 very partial to a pizza. I just can't help it. So I will indulge every now and again in a frozen pizza, yourself, or even one out, whatever. But other than that, when I'm at home, I get like organic veg delivered to my house, and I cook and eat that. Try to eat fruit. Now, of course, I eat like, few things here and there, but I generally try and get healthy snacks, and it's just a habit that I'm in. It's not that I am denying myself, like I don't want to eat the junk, because I just think, that is absolutely full of sugar, or that is absolutely full of chemicals, or that is just not good for me. So I'll try and stay away from it. Again, not because I'm denying myself. I don't give a damn about the taste of it. It's just because I just don't want it. I don't want that in my body, So it's just really kind of getting into that habit. And once you, I think, learn more about these things, you'll find that like, eating a healthy life is fucking delicious. Like there's so many beautiful foods out there that you can make, and I know that like the thing about processed food is just like it's literally convenience, it's off the shelf, and that's I think the downfall of us humans. It's just like, oh, that's just too easy, okay, done, and it's tasty of course as well, but it's full of crap. And we're talking bleach, we're talking chemicals, we're talking pesticides, all sorts of things. Like, so stay away from processed foods if you can. Even fish as well. Like fish is full of microplastics because there's so much plastic in the sea. So even eating fish isn't particularly good for you. So I mean, ideally, being on a vegetarian diet, which I predominantly am, is probably the way forward. Sushi, buddy, love it, but will I eat it? Not anymore. And I would never eat lobster again because it's so cruel. And octopus as well, that is just so cruel because they're so intelligent. I wouldn't eat crab anymore. I'd have like mussels maybe the odd time. I wouldn't eat oysters anymore. I wouldn't eat caviar because even the way caviar is produced is quite cruel. But anyway, fish in general has microplastics in it, so stay away from microplastics. Especially salmon. Everyone thinks like that salmon is so good for them, but 99% of salmon is farmed, and it's like there's like thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, and in some farms millions of salmon in this tank, and there's no space for them to swim. They're blind, they're sick, and they're highly, highly, highly toxic. So then they are given to supermarkets, and then they are given to you, and you're eating that, and you're just basically eating a toxic fish, you know. So stay away from salmon, stay away from fish in general. If you can as well, like I would always say, avoid eating pig, because bacon and sausage, as good as it tastes, has got no nutrition whatsoever, and it's only absolutely cruel to the poor pig. But it doesn't do anything for your brain either. So basically, look, just eating a clean, nutritional, balanced diet is the way forward and does absolutely help with your brain. So keeping your brain clear and clean and just your body clear and clean helps you be way more open to receiving as well. But also something before we finish up to mention is calling your energy back, because if you're busy and you're out and you're in the office, or you're doing whatever, you're dealing with people, you're at home with your family, or you're with kids, whatever that might be, you're dealing with people, and therefore you're susceptible to so many different energies, because you don't know what is going on with people. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what they're feeling. You don't know what is really going on with them. So their energy could be giving something, and having some sort of negative impact on your energy, completely unbeknownst to you. So when you're, in the evening, every evening you should call your energy back. Just I just made up something here. So like I say, when you're sitting quietly in meditation or in your living room or in bed, to say to yourself, I call my energy back. Whoever and whatever has taken my energy today, I call back into my body. I am powerful and strong, and my energy is my own. I call back my energy to return to home. Your home being yourself, of course. So I just made that up. You don't have to necessarily say that, but you get the idea. You have to call your energy back to you. So important. And so... Yeah, I was going to say, if you struggle with meditation, just like anybody else, just remember to be present at all times. And the more you take your attention, the more you put, rather, I have take here written down in front of me in my notes, the more you put your attention on people and places and images and things, then you are giving that attention to them. So, make sure that you're taking the attention off unnecessary things, excuse me, and that you're putting that attention onto yourself. That you're thinking about you're thinking about what you want to do, you're thinking about how you can do what you want to do to achieve your life. You can think about like that car that you're going to drive out the showroom with, whatever it might be. Just that's what you need to put your attention on, and if you put your attention on that, that is where you will go. So one last thing as well, when you enter the quantum field, you can't enter as a somebody. You have to enter as a consciousness or as a nobody, leaving behind everything in the physical and focusing on the present. Okay, it's a little bit of a complicated one to end with, my apologies, but it just is kind of reiterating what I've already said. And pretty much that is just when you're in meditation, focusing on the present is super important and the main thing and the way forward, because if you're thinking about your memories from the past, you're living in the past. If you're thinking about like the crappy things you got to do in the future, then you're living in the future. But if you're in the present and you're thinking about the things that you are creating in the present, then, as I say, you are more present and you're going to be open and you're open to receiving, and just being in the quiet, in your own space, in your own present space, is just super, super, super powerful. So that is it for the Joe Dispenza rundown and summary of the book that I've been reading at the moment. I hope you got some takeaways from that, and I would absolutely adore if you would please like, subscribe, share, comment, do whatever you want to do, but do one of them, do all of them. It'd be amazing, because this is like the first episode and I really would love to grow this podcast, to grow a community of like-minded people, and just also to help and motivate others. So I'm going to be bringing you some like juicy tips, tricks, tools, tactics, and techniques every single Tuesday here on the podcast. So please do like, subscribe, share, and all of that jazz. So until then, thank you so much for listening to me in the podcast today, and I really look forward to having you with me again next Tuesday. Until then, ciao for now.